Hello again. This is Math 0465 coming to you from the College Uta page, and the title of this lecture, which lines up with section 1.9 in your book, is entitled Multiply versus Divide Converting Units. As always, please be attentive while watching this video. As an open example, consider Lydia plans to take a cruise with her family and to take her cell phone with her. Her cell phone service provider offers a $100 cruise ship plan that includes 200 megabytes of data with an overage charge of $2 per megabyte. An internet search states that an hour of streaming video in standard definition uses approximately 1 gigabyte of data. How much additional cost will Lydia incur to stream a 90-minute movie? Please pause the video, try to work this, and we'll return and see how you did. Let's see how you. Well, 1.5 gigabits is shown by this number in Excel, but she gets 200 megabytes, which is here, free. So the difference between these two is take this number, subtract that number in Excel, and you get this number. Again, these are very big numbers. So you see she gets a lot of overage, but we have to change this to megabytes, so we have to divide this. And again, this was just changed to bytes. I have to divide this by a million, and so I get that this is 1,300 megabytes, but it was $2 per megabyte. So this movie cost her an overage fee of $2,600. The Explorer, which was the example we just looked at, involves a conversion between units. There is more than one way to convert units, but the most common method used in daily life involves multiplying or dividing using a conversion fact. This method can be ideal if you're converting only English units or only metric units, but it can be challenging if you're converting between systems or have several conversions to make. The problems you will solve in this cycle have a manageable number of conversions and difficulty level. So for now, we'll focus on understanding when should we multiply or when should we divide. So as you work through this session, think about these questions. Do you know where or how to find a conversion factor when you need one? And how do you decide whether to multiply or divide when converting units? We'll begin by finding a relevant conversion fact and then trying to understand the relationship it states. We'll then determine the operation needed for the conversion and calculate the answer. Finally, we will check to make sure the answer is reasonable. This is active example 1. A 3-credit college course usually meets for 3 50-minute periods per week for 15 weeks. If you have a 3-credit math course, how many seconds do you spend in that course over the semester? If My Math Lab shows you have spent 92.6 hours on homework during the semester, approximately how many total 24-hour days of work does this represent? So please pause the video, do this problem, and we'll see how you do. So pause the video. Let's see how you did. So using Excel, we have 150 minutes per week times 15 weeks in the term. So I take this number, and this gives me the number of minutes. But then I have to take that times 60 for the number of seconds. And when I multiply those three numbers together using Excel, I get 135,000, 135,000. In the second one, you have 92.6 hours, but there are 24 hours in a day. So you divide 24 into this, and you find out there are 3.858, and 3 is repeating full days of work that you represent. Make sure that you can do these kind of calculations with Excel. Because these examples use units of time that you were familiar with, you probably didn't need to think too much about which unit is larger. This will not always be the case. If you are not familiar with the units, you would need to think carefully about which unit is larger before multiplying or dividing. Okay, so to convert units, find a relationship between the units. and this may involve one or more conversion factors. Understand the relationship, determine whether you're going to multiply or divide, calculate the answer, and check to see that it is reasonable. So here's an example. Convert 4,000 yards to miles by first converting to feet. Since there are 3 feet in each yard, it makes sense to multiply the number of yards by 3 to get the number of feet. So 4,000 times 3 is equal to 12,000 feet. Now feet are smaller units than yards, so it follows that there should be more of them. Now there are 5,280 feet in 1 mile, so it makes sense to divide the number of feet by 5,280 to get the number of miles, and we get that this is 2.27 miles. Miles are a larger unit of length than yards, so it follows that there are fewer of them. The following list shows some commonly used conversion facts that will be useful in this section and in the homework. However, you should not hesitate to simply Google a conversion fact when you need one. So 1 foot is 12 inches, 1 mile is 5,280 feet, 1 yard is 3 feet, 1 mile ends up being 1,760 yards, and 1 fathom is 6 feet. This is used in depth in the ocean, for example. For time, we have length, time, and capacity, or volume. So the time, 1 year is 365 days. That's when it's not a leap year. 1 year is 52 weeks. 1 day is 24 hours. 1 hour is 60 minutes. And 1 minute is 60 seconds. And volume, a gallon is 4 quarts. A quart is 2 pints. A pint is 2 cups. A pound is 16 ounces. And 1 cup is 8 ounces. So here are 2 questions for you to consider. If you are 5 feet 6 inches, are you 5.6 feet tall? And how tall are you in inches? So that is the first problem. And the second problem that you should do before you check is you're going to a movie that is 189 minutes long. Your friend is seeing a movie that starts at the same time, but it's 2 hours, 10 minutes long. Who will be finished first and by how many minutes? So pause the video and try to do both of these problems. Let's see how you did. Well, you see there are 6 inches in a foot, so 5 feet 6 inches is not 5.6. You are 5.5 feet tall. And if you wanted to change this to inches, 5 feet is 5 times 12 is 60, and you add 6, so you're 66 inches tall. Now, if you're going to this movie, what will happen is 189 minutes is 3 hours. That would be 180 minutes and 9 minutes more. 180 minutes long. That would be 3 hours and 9 minutes. Yours was 2 hours and 10 minutes. So you change both of these things to 2 minutes. So this is 189 minutes. Yours is 2 hours is 120, and 10 more is 130. So you take the difference between 130 and 189, and your friend is actually, this should be 59, not 69. So just correct that in your notes. This is 59 minutes long. Your friend finishes first, and you will be there in 59 minutes later. In the next example, you will learn how to convert metric units using a version of multiplier divide strategy. The following graphic, often called a metric converter, shows the metric prefixes that can be applied to any metric base unit. So here's the base unit. If you make it larger units, you get deca multiplied by 10, hecto multiplied by 100, and kilo multiplied by 1,000. Going the other way, if you divide by 10, you call it deci. Divide by 100, you call it centi, and divide by 1,000, you call it milli. So to convert a unit to the one to its right, you're changing the unit that is 10 times smaller, so you should multiply by, so you're converting a unit to the one to its right, and so you are going to, if you go this way, you're going to be dividing by 10, this way you're going to be multiplying by 10. So to convert metric units in unit, decides how many steps you have to move from the first to the second, then multiply or divide by that factor of 10. For example, meters are 2 steps to the left of centimeters on the metric converter, indicating there are 10 squared or 100 centimeters in 1 meter. So we should multiply the number of meters by 100 to get the number of centimeters. Kilometers are 3 steps to the left of meters, indicating there are 10 cubed or 1,000 meters in a kilometer, and so we should divide that number by 1,000 to get the number of kilometers. And here are some even more terms that are often used as prefixes and their powers of 10, and soon in this course we will talk about scientific notation, and those will become more prominent. Okay, so this example says convert 5,000 millimeters to kilometers. Please pause the video, do the problem, and then come back and we'll see how you did. Let's see how you did. Okay, so 5,000 millimeters there are 1,000 millimeters in a meter, and so 5,000 millimeters is 5 meters, and there are 1,000 meters in a kilometer, so I divide this by 1,000 to get the number of kilometers. Make sure you can do these calculations with Excel. Here's another set of problems. Convert 4,650 milliliters to liters. Convert 5 kilograms to grams and then to milligrams. And convert 500 milligrams per hour to milligrams per day and then to grams per day. So there's 3 problems to do here. Please pause the video, do these, preferably using Excel, and we'll return and see how you did. Let's see how you did. Okay, there are 1,000 milliliters in a liter, so when I go from here to here, I move the decimal point 3 places, dividing by 1,000, so that's 4.65. Here, first we start with 5 kilograms, but that is 5,000 grams, and then I multiply by 1,000 again, and so I get 5 million milligrams. And finally, if I take 500 milligrams per hour times 24 hours, I get that this is 12,000 milligrams per day. And since there are 1,000 milligrams in a gram, that is going to be 12 grams per day. Some problems will require you to convert between English and metric systems. The following table of conversion factors will be helpful. An inch is 2.54 centimeters. A mile is approximately 1.61 kilometers. A pound is approximately 0.45 kilograms. And a gallon is approximately 3.79 liters. Additionally, sometimes the conversion that needs to be done is not obvious, but a little more subtle, as in the next example. Okay, so let's look at this example. A doctor orders 200 milligrams of an antibiotic for an infant who weighs 15.4 pounds, kind of a tiny baby, or at least getting to be not a newborn, but not very old either. The medication should be taken every 8 hours. The medication label shows that between 75 and 150 milligrams per kilogram per day is the appropriate dosage range. Determine if the dosage ordered is within the appropriate range. Please pause the video and give this a go. We'll return soon and see how you did. Let's see how you did. Okay, so you have 15.4 pounds, and we have to multiply by 0.45 kilograms per pound. And so this is going to change the weight from pounds to kilograms. And so this baby has a mass of 6.93 kilograms. Now the upper dosage is 150 milligrams per kilogram per day. And so you would multiply that times 150. The lower is this. And so you see you want to be between 519 and 1,039. Now the doctor recommended that you take 200 milligrams, but there are 3 doses per day because you're doing this every 8 hours, so that's 600 milligrams per day, and that fits in between this range. So the short answer is yes, but you should have shown these other things as well. So far, this section is stressed using logic and unit sense to decide whether to multiply or divide when you're doing a unit conversion. Well, this is a great way to begin, and it's extremely practical. It does have its limitations as conversions get more complicated. As they grow in complexity, we'll use a different technique called dimensional analysis, which involves multiplying by conversion factors written as fractions. The unit you start with and don't want divides off with the denominator of the fraction, and you're left with a new unit that you want. You can use a string of such conversion factors to do a multi-step conversion. Consider the following example when we're converting 45 centimeters to inches and then to feet. So 45 centimeters, here's the conversion factor. This is 1 inch per 2.54 centimeters. The centimeters cancel. That changes this to inches. But then we say 1 foot per 12 inch, and the inches now cancel, so we get that this is approximately, when we multiply across and the top and across the bottom and then divide, we get 1.5 feet. Now this is a relatively small example of the technique of dimensional analysis. We're going to explore this much more depth later in the course. But here we have a problem for you to do. You are to convert 2.5 miles to yards by changing the miles to feet and then the feet to yards. So pause the video, do the problem, and let's see how you did. Let's see. Okay, so 2.5 miles. So we're changing it to feet, and so there are 5,280 feet per mile. The miles will cancel, and now this is feet. So when I multiply those two numbers using Excel, and again, you should be using Excel for this, we get 13,200 feet. But then there is 1 yard per 3 feet. That means we're going to divide 3 into here, and we'll find that this is 4,400 yards. In closing, now more than ever, time is precious. Each day must count. Do the math, it will make you strong. And now more than ever, take care of yourself, because self-care is important. And now more than ever, take care of each other, because we're all in this together. God bless you all, and I will see you soon.